Over the years, Peter Parker and his clone Ben Reilly have had an incredibly rocky relationship, especially over in the pages of the Amazing Spider-Man's Beyond storyline. In that story arc, Ben Reilly wanted to go ahead and take up the mantle as Spider-Man and actually had to work with Peter Parker to coordinate how he would become the fabled legendary Marvel hero. Unfortunately, that didn't last long as a mysterious corporation known as Beyond started manipulating Reilly and even managed to engineer a scenario where he fell into a mutagenic polymer, becoming the villainous character known as Chasm. My name is Ariko Braddock, and today we're going to go ahead and dive deep into the Amazing Spider-Man number 16 to see how Marvel's dark web has finally positioned the Amazing Spider-Man series to feature a showdown between Peter Parker and Chasm. But before we get deeper into the video, I want to go ahead and encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel if it's your first time checking out our content. And if you want to go ahead and support us further, why not leave a like on this video? Next up, I want to go ahead and introduce the context behind The Amazing Spider-Man with Marvel's solicitation text for the issue. Spider-Man vs. Chasm. After the battle with Venom last issue, it's time for the main event. That's right, it's Peter Parker versus Ben Reilly. No holds barred in the craziest battle you've ever seen. Chasm secures his place in Spidey's rogues gallery as the foe who finally vanquishes Peter Parker. Next up, I want to read off the creative team for The Amazing Spider-Man 16. This issue is written by the incredible Zeb Wells, illustrated by the wonderful Ed McGuinness. We have inks from Cliff Rathburn, colors from Marcio Menyz. The issue is lettered from VC's Joe Caramagna, and we have a cover from John Romita Jr., Scott Hanna, and Marcio Menyz. I want to go ahead and start things off here by showing off the review for The Amazing Spider-Man 16. And big thanks over to Adventures in Poor Taste for posting this preview of the issue so incredibly quickly. Here's a look at kind of the triumphant showdown featured on the cover of The Amazing Spider-Man 16 between Ben and Peter. I love how this issue is kind of positioned and how it carries kind of the dark web branding in the back of the issue as well. And let's go ahead and kick things off here by talking a little bit about some of the artwork from Ed McGuinness. When you get a story that features such incredible, battle scenes and fight scenes, I think Ed McGuinness is one of the best artists that Amazing Spider-Man has used over in this current run to tell this type of story. McGuinness really came through with the Amazing Spider-Man's anniversary issue that we saw earlier this year, where there was some incredible battles between Spider-Man and the Adaptoids. So really fantastic to see kind of the big climactic fight between Ben and Peter captured in such incredible detail from artist Ed McGuinness here. I just love how McGuinness kind of positions these characters and always manages to find the most epic way to go ahead and tell the story. Each page in this issue is laid out and positioned incredibly well and so intriguing and interesting to look at. The issue itself was an incredibly brisk read, as we've been waiting for Peter and Ben to go up against each other for such a long stretch of time, and this issue finally carries some of the pieces out of the way so Peter and Ben can have their big confrontation. And their fight in this issue carries so much sort of animosity and is so cathartic for people who have been reading the Amazing Spider-Man series for such a long time. There's so much history that Ben references throughout the fight with Peter that extends even beyond, past the previous storyline of Amazing Spider-Man. And throughout the issue, kind of Peter still carries his sort of reluctant, nature with Ben, as he doesn't want to fight, throughout the entire issue. But Ben sort of does, and that gives him this advantage because it seems like throughout the pages of The Amazing Spider-Man 16 that Peter is taken by surprise here, which sort of leads to his, untimely demise towards the end of the issue. And really, it's been funny to watch Peter's reaction to dark web because There's been numerous times throughout the last couple Amazing Spider-Man issues that he's been sort of cringing at what's been going on, unsure of why Ben would partner with somebody like Madeline Pryor, and just having that real sort of pull on the characterization really helped to kind of redefine this issue. I love sort of the sequence at the end because it really helps to expand one of the biggest parts of dark web that I was really hoping the creative team would get to eventually, especially from other pieces of media like the original Inferno. And elsewhere in the pages of The Amazing Spider-Man, it's really good to see kind of the connection between the X-Men, also not forgotten throughout this issue, and also the way this book kind of references the Venom series is also very intriguing. I also really enjoyed the brief look that we got over at the hallowseve character, and we kind of saw a little glimpse at how some of Halloweve's powers work throughout the issue. And there's also a really kind of fun sequence over at the X-Men's treehouse. And one of the most kind of enjoyable parts of the issue was seeing some of Chasm's new powers as well, like his kind of upgraded spider sense, and watching the way that works against Peter Parker and some of his moves is really fascinating. The idea of sort of a darker Spider-Man is very interesting, and I think Marvel has a great sort of concept with this Chasm character that I really hope that they continue to flesh out as the issue goes along. So I really enjoyed The Amazing Spider-Man 16. I think this is a really great issue that features a really important chapter to Marvel's Dark Web. I love how this event has been paced. I don't think it's really been dragging its feet. We've gotten several kind of climactic Spider-Man battles over the past couple issues, and it seems like there's still quite a few to come. The artwork from Ed McGuinness in this issue was just a major selling point of the book. It's just so vibrant and easy to look at. So really have to commend the creative team on The Amazing Spider-Man 16. I think this is another incredibly solid issue of the series. I want to know down in the comments below, did you like this issue as much as I did? Thank you guys so much for checking out the video, and we'll be back really soon for more excellent comic book content. We'll see you soon. Bye.